Hello everybody, welcome back to the workshop. So today we are going to be working on another little bit of piece of air tooling. Now, I'm going to demonstrate this. I'm actually going to be making another part in this series, which is going to be a drift. So be staying tuned for that, and that's actually going to be used on hammerheads to speed things along. So make sure to check that out. So today what we're going to do is we're going to take this chisel here, and we are going to make ourselves a slot punch. Now this slot punch is going to have, as you see, a bit of a taper to it. So it's not going to be quite just flat right across the bottom. Of course, this is over exaggerated than what I'm actually going to do. But we are going to grind this not just flat, but we're going to grind it to where it comes up to just a fuzz of a peak right in the center of the tool. What this is going to allow us to do is when we lay out something like a hammerhead, we are going to be able to center punch mark the center of our hole and be able to find that very quickly with the air tool right out of the fire, so we can drive that right down through like we're supposed to. Now, as I've mentioned before, I do not know what these air tool bits are made out of. In fact, I've actually got a plan when I run to the scrapyard later this week to hopefully have these checked. And they have a little machine that can tell you what this steel is. And I'm hoping to do that and compare these that I got here and the Husky ones that you can buy at Home Depot and see if there's really any difference. The ones at Home Depot, the Husky ones, they're like $14, $14 or $18, so they're fairly steep. And the ones that you can get at Harbor Freight, they're $7. So they're like $7.98 for pretty much the same thing. It's the same type set. So I really am curious to see what the material difference is, and they should be able to tell me that roughly at the scrapyard. So be looking out for that video. So without further ado, let's get to grinding this, and I'm going to show it in use. Obviously, there's not much to making this tool. It's just grinding off these little ears here and getting it all squared up and true. One thing to point out, make sure you don't over temper these, so don't go hogging off too much material. It is going to temper it's going to temper pretty much as soon as you run it through the piece. There's not much you can do about that. I'm not sure the life expectancy of these tools. They would be much better if they were made out of something like H13 or some sort of air hardening tool steel. But I do not think that's the case with these. So without further ado, let's get to the grinder and let's test this puppy out. Okay, so I know somebody's going to eventually ask me, what is that pitch that you took and ground that to? And there's only really one good way of finding that type of pitch, and that's with one of these. It's a little drill point gauge. This is for people who like to sharpen their own drill bits and get them back to sharp, knocking things off the bench here, excuse me. But all you have to do is line it up with one of these gauge point things to figure out what gauge it is. Now, it's not quite 135 degrees. It is actually a 150 degree angle. That's exactly what it is there. It's 150 degrees. It wasn't 135. It's a 150. And then, there's another one here that it doesn't quite fit. That's a 60 degree pitch. So there you go. You got the 50 degrees or 150. And that's what it was ground to. That's not overly critical. The point of it is that it has kind of a bit of a lead point, and that'll sit into the dimple that you center punch mark. And that's really the only criteria here. It just kind of helps locate the tool and become a little more accurate. And especially with the air hammer, it can jitter a little bit. And so if you don't have it fully engaged with the material, and so therefore it could try to walk on you a little bit. So it's good to have that and a good dimple started. So without further ado, let's go see how this thing actually works. And I'm not going to be talking through this part, so I'll just go ahead and say it. Thank you all for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you disliked it, give it a thumbs down. At any rate, I really appreciate your all's feedback. God bless you all, and we will catch you on the next one. Make sure to stick around for the bonus clip of it being in use.